That's okay. In that case, would our student trustee care to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? You take another picture now.
Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. President Joey Acuña Jr.,
Here.
Vice President Jocelyn Vargas.
Here.
Silvia Paz.
Here.
Trinidad Arredondo.
Present.
Valerie Garcia.
Here.
Jesus Gonzalez. Thomas Tortes.
Here.
Student Trustee Isabela Jimenez.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, closed session public comments. We have 3 of them. We'll go ahead and get them started. First of all, Tim Steele. Oh, Tim, can you wait 1 quick second? I got to read this thing. I forgot. Public comments, closed session. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the governing board regarding any closed session items within the board's subject matter jurisdiction. Please complete a request to address the governing board form and hand it to the recording secretary. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person with the maximum of 20 minutes on each subject matter. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As no, the tale of the emperor who has no clothes. The emperor deceived the tailor, were deceived by tailors who claimed to weave these magnificent garments, yet he proceeded through the streets completely naked. The crowd stood on the sidelines and they cheered because they were afraid to tell the truth. It wasn't until a little boy said, "Hey, you're naked," that the reality set in. I share this story not to reflect on anybody in this room, but to highlight the danger when we refuse to confront hard truths. The hard truth before us is this: public education has too often failed our most vulnerable students. Removing kindergarten aids is not just a budgetary decision. It risks perpetuating a system that leads students down the school to prison pipeline. Boys of color, students living in poverty, English language learners are disproportionately affected by their early discipline and systematic inequities. Kindergarten is where these students begin to build their social emotional skills, identity, and confidence that shape their futures. Aides are more than just extra hands. They play critical roles in cultural connections, mentors, and allies for students who need individualized attention to thrive. Our district has already shown such courage by working with the National Compadres Network and embracing restorative justice and culturally affirming practices to address inequities. These practices have proven strategies dismantle the school to prison pipeline before it even begins. Cutting kindergarten aids would be a step backwards, unraveling the progress and compromising the future of our youngest learners. The research is clear. The pipeline to prison often begins in early education, where limited resources lead to disproportionate discipline for students of color. Every dollar spent on early education saves $7 in future costs to taxpayers, including remediation and juvenile justice. Studies like the Tennessee Star show that smaller adults to student ratio leads to higher academic performance and long-term success. If we cut kindergarten aids, we may parade ourselves as fiscally disciplined, but the truth would be clear to all who are watching. We will have failed our youngest learners, contributed to the cycles of inequity we worked so hard to dismantle. Let us confront this truth. Let us choose equity, healing, and justice by investing in the resources our students need to succeed. Thank you. I've placed a QR code if you want to see the report that I shared with the board. The QR codes are there, so you can see the same thing I shared with them.
Thank you. Next up is Alicia Valedor. You are.
Good afternoon. My name is Alicia Valladolid, and I am a MIA. I work in the library in elementary. I've been here many times, and I still continue coming. And let me tell you this, my coworkers encouraged me, but they gave me a lot of topics to talk to you, and I said, I can't do it. I could do a topic at a time, so you probably see me next time, okay? Just to let you know. Last time that I was here, I gave you my job description. I should have bought the one that we had before. It was not so much. And it increased. We did agree. I understand that I couldn't do my job in 11 months in 8 hours. We agreed it was 12 months, 8 hours. But you gave us another department. We accepted it. We accepted it. And we are hard workers. We're in the summer. I didn't see custodians. They're inside the classrooms. I'm over there calling them. I need a key to open the gates. Okay, this is things that you don't see, but that's the truth. I mean, one time I was in the middle of the summer doing inventories on the iPads. And I said, what? I'm the only one outside. But the district asked us to do that. Okay, and we did it. I did it. Now, last week, you agree, or kind of, agree, 10 months and 5 hours, just in the proposal, right? My sister said, think about it. 40 hours a week for 4 weeks, that's 160. If you are 10 months and 5 hours, you are 100 hours. That's a 60 hours difference. That's 60 hours you're going to take away from the students as well as the teachers. That's a fact, if it is going to be that way. Okay. And it's a lot. So what's going to happen? They want textbooks. They're going to come in and take it. Textbooks around $60. Library books, $30. Leave a note for Alicia. I never get the notes. Teacher material, gone. No, we're not there. Now, equipment. I get emails on a Saturday that they're getting a new student on Monday. And I go, the kid's not even here. And I have to do the process. Broken iPads, around 15 minutes. Every Tuesday, I might have to make sure that the iPad is done so they could bring it to the warehouse, so they could take it. It's a long list that I could go on. I know it's 3 minutes, 3 seconds. But thank you for listening, but I will continue coming. Thank you.
Thank you. Reyes and Dua? And you're next.
Good evening. My name is Rans Ladua, Vice President for CSEA, Coachella Chapter 109. I'm going to get, plenty of practice speaking to you guys because I plan on doing this until June. Tonight, I want to talk about the risks in technology. On the chopping block are 3 techs and 1 assistant. We've taken this hit once before, and it took many years to come back to a decent staffing level, and here we are again doing it. Same thing. I would like to present to you some data tonight. Unfortunately, I can't. I inquired with my management for it, but they were unable to provide it to me. So from what I do remember is that we've closed out a few thousand work orders a few years ago. The following year, we did that same amount of work in half the school year. So meaning we did more. And that trend has continued for the past 3 years as we acquired more staff. But if we're going to cut those guys, we're going to roll all that progress back. It's going to be tough because each one has 2 to 3 sites per tech. Losing 3 of those techs, we only got 7 left, and you're going to give a school to each one. Plus, we're opening another school. So I can't imagine, spreading us that thin is going to help. And it's kind of funny because right now I'm teased by Seaview and West Shores for showing up multiple times in the week. They're like, you're back again? Oh, yeah, you guys are my school site. I gotta support you in any way I can. I also wanted to mention the IMAs, which is, it's kind of funny because I kind of consider them like the mafiosos of technology because like in The Godfather, everyone comes for them favors. And when they do, we magically appear to take care of those work orders because our IMAs accumulate a ton of the work orders that we do because teachers or other staff don't want to put that work in. So they help out. I mean, if you look at the records, they'll probably show that our IMAs put in a ton of those work orders for us. I would like you guys to inquire with management about, the amount of work we've done as technicians. And just to see, we actually do have quantifiable data to back up, what I'm saying. And that we're one of very few departments that actually do that and have pretty legit data that shows the kind of work that we do. And I don't think management does anything like that. So let's just see who's really doing the work out there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Veronica Dontia?
Hi, good evening, Veronica Dueña, CSA Chief Union Steward for the classified. Good evening, President Acuna, Board Trustees, Student Trustees, Dr. Sparsa Superintendent, and Extended Cabinet. I am here today because there is a lot of misconception and misinformation out there about this layoff process, and that's how I'm going to say it. The district, you guys, have put out information on board agendas that had lists of positions on them with cut hours and cut working year time. I'm going to tell you right now, that's not true. CSEA has not negotiated anything right now that has to do with the layoff process. We will be going to the table on that possibly next week. We are working right now on our current contract that is expired. So by you guys putting out that you have proposed working hours and working days to be cut from 12 months to 11 months, 11 months to 10 months, 8 hours to 5 hours is incorrect on CSEA because our members right now, as you have noticed from week to week or bi-weekly that you guys are having your meetings, keep saying that we are being cut by months and hours. The district has put that out there. CSEA has not, and let me repeat myself again, has not negotiated any of that yet. Okay? So when hear my members and you hear my members come up here and they're advocating for changes in hours and work year, we are not there. They have been scared into that. And that's how I'm going to say that. Because there was something put out by the district on board agendas due to our COE wanting a certain number cut from the district because you guys are in deficit. But because you guys use classified at $24 million deficit, supposedly, right? Because we still have the right to negotiate that effect. So again, CSEA has not negotiated anything for layoffs as of today. There has been no changes to work years or working hours. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing nothing else, was that it? Any more? No? Can I have a motion to enter into closed session?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Aye.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. We should be back by 7 o'clock. Right, I'd like to call this meeting back to order. There was a motion and a second to return into open session. The motion carried unanimously. We have nothing to announce from closed session. Can I have a motion to approve the adopted agenda with the exception of 10.2 and 13.12, which we're going to pull, which have been asked to be pulled? I motion. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 4, public comment, open session. Introductory comments and requests to address the board on items on the adopted agenda and items not on the adopted agenda will be considered from the audience at this time. Please complete a request to address the governing board form and hand it into the recording secretary. Speakers will be limited to 3 minutes per person with the maximum of 20 minutes to each subject matter. Additionally, the person making the request should state his or her name and the name of the organization or group represented. Please be advised that the board is not always at liberty to answer questions right away. State law prohibits the board from taking any action on items not listed on the agenda. Righty. Okay, let's get started. First up, Elizabeth Cervantes.
You guys, okay, perfect. So good evening, board members, and good evening, superintendent. I'm here tonight because you guys decided to eliminate the dual language program at Mountain Vista Elementary. Now, the reason I'm here is not just because of that, but you guys made this decision without meeting with the parents prior to making this decision. Dr. Sparza said in the past that they were communicating, the district was communicating with stakeholders involved the parents, and this was before the decision was made, that you guys were communicating with stakeholders prior to making any decisions. And we had the meeting last night with parents, informing them that the dual language program is being eliminated. So it came as a shock to them because none of them were aware that this was the final decision, that this had happened. So I feel that it was a bit of inconsiderate, that you guys did not take into consideration meeting with these parents, that you should have met with these parents before making these decisions, because now they're left asking questions of what are they going to do? What are their options? And, it's just not right. I'm not saying your decision to eliminate the program was not right. I'm just saying your decision of or the steps of how you got to that was not correct. You should have met with the parents. I have a lot more stuff to say, but at the moment right now, my mind's a little, can't remember, but that's kind of like the gist of what I wanted to say. I feel like you guys should have met with the parents, taken them into consideration prior to making this decision. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Julissa Lara.
Hi, good evening, board members. Sorry, I apologize for my voice. I'm one of the parents of a student at Mountain Vista Elementary, and he was actually a part of the dual language program. I was one of the parents that was informed yesterday that it was going to be cut from Mountain Vista Elementary School. And as far as the district deciding to cut it, I know financially there's a huge deficit, like it's been announced. However, I'm wondering as far as what's going to be done to support these students that are not going to be able to continue on with the dual language program. My oldest son is learning how to read in Spanish right now. I'm concerned about him starting the school year in an English class and basically falling behind, because right now he's doing well and I would like for him to continue on in the dual language program. I don't think it's fair to us as parents Sorry, I apologize. I don't think it's fair to us as parents to have these children not be able to continue on in this program. I think if, I'm not sure when the decision was made as to them thinking to cut it, sorry. Thinking to cut it soon. I think if we were told maybe at the beginning of the year, hey, you know, we may have to cut one of the dual language programs. It's up to you whether you decide if you want to have your child join the program at the start of the year, because it may or may not be that school. Would have been a better option for us, because I think the other thing is stability. And I understand that one of the options is to, if you want to continue your child in the dual language program, have them transfer to another school. I don't think that that should be one of the answers, because we want our children to be stable where they're at. And I think, you know, as part of the school district and teachers, we know how important it is to have stability for children. So I'm just making a comment because I am in support of keeping the dual language program. And again, I, you know, want to know how these children are going to be supported, because where I feel like my son is thriving right now in the dual language program, I don't think the answer is, okay, well, we will support him with tutoring services if he falls behind, you know, being changed from dual language to English. I don't think that that should be something that is the answer, or having to transfer and then interrupt the stability he has. And that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Rodriguez?
Like you said, my name is Frank Rodriguez. I'm also here about the dual language program. I was also one of the parents that was just recently informed yesterday or last night that the program would be going away. I think it's unfair. With you guys just dropping it and not giving us a heads up, just last minute. We had no idea this was gonna happen. I have 2 kids in the program right now and they're doing really well. My daughter's doing so good and learning both languages, and it's so important. I myself am a paramedic firefighter, and I can't tell you how many more people are going to help just because I'm able to speak both languages. Now, I know last night it was brought up over and over again, hey, you could teach them at home. You could teach them at home, do your own thing. But the thing is, I'm not always at home. I'm not there all the time because I'm gone 3-4 days out of the week. So having this program was like a really, really good, God bless. And like, it was just great for my son too, because he wants to follow in my footsteps and he wants to do what I do. And this program is going to help him out so much. I just want to know how you guys came to this decision. I heard it was because of numbers of students, that our school was one of the smaller ones. I would like to see that. I would like to see how you guys got to this decision. What made you choose our school out of all the schools? Why was it us? Also, like was noted earlier, it's kind of you guys threw in the option like going to another school. Well, I'm not there all the time. My wife drops off the kids on her way to work. So it's not like it's going to throw a big wrench in our day and our schedule, and everything is going to go into a different school, waking up earlier. And then not just to mention that, but also the emotional trauma is going to cost the kids just ripping them out of one school, out of all their friends when they've been there for a couple of years, and just moving them to another school for this program. I'm a huge supporter of the school. I mean, and the program itself. 3 minutes seemed a lot longer than I thought. Let me see. The decision was made Friday, and I was told that that you guys wanted to keep her. It was tried to be kept hush hush, and then they don't want to tell us anything, kind of keep us in the dark. I want to know why. Why wasn't this also basically why weren't you guys telling us? Why were you guys transparent about it? Was you guys take into accountability any other options, any way to save the program? You guys could have talked to us, had a meeting, maybe put our heads together, find a way to save it before all this happened. I mean, the beginning of the school year, I don't know how long you guys knew, but that was something you guys could have brought to our attention too. I mean, like I said, I was there last night. I'm here today. Had I known, I'd come. I'd be here. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Acuna, if I can just direct the superintendent to, I don't know what happened and why the parents just found out yesterday or not, but if you can please meet with them and see, I mean, I don't think, well, they were, it was probably announced,
they had
right,
a-
that the
The
decision.
principal had a meeting yesterday
Mm.
with the parents.
Yeah, well, I think to all the comments that this board, at least the ones who voted, we've all been supportive of the program.
Mhm.
And the questions that they're raising are very valid. And so if you can just meet with them and try to see, I mean, I would have the same questions if I just found last minute.
Right.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next up is Jessica, I apologize, I'm sorry.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Jessica Ames. I, as well as the other people that came up, I am a parent of two students that go to Mountain Vista. And we just got the news last night. So very concerned because both of my children are thriving in this program. And I feel that it's very vital to their success as they become adults, you know, for them to learn two languages. And I'm very saddened by the fact on how this was, you know, informed to the parents and that it's being pulled away from the school that my children go to. Just as the other parent mentioned, I want stability for my children. I don't want to be moving my children from one school to another because, you know, budgets are cut, and unfortunately, our school was selected where you guys are ending this program. I would have liked to have seen, you know, some options. What can we do to save the program? Get us involved. Like the other parents said, you know, what are some options? How can we come together and collaborate on this for the students? Because at the end of the day, it's about the children. Our children are the future. And I feel that this program being taken away, it's going to affect so many families and most importantly, our children. My daughter is thriving in this program and she loves to talk Spanish, you know, and she is just excelling in school. And, you know, as the other mother mentioned, if she gets pulled, well, once this program ends at the end of the year, she's going to be in English, but they're going to be behind already. So moving them to another school, I don't feel is the answer. Not only that, but there's a wait period. I don't even know if another school is going to be able to take my daughter, but that shouldn't be the answer. We should have other options. So my plea tonight is for you guys to reconsider, you know, this program. Try to see if there's any way that this program can be saved, or at least come up with some other options. I don't feel that ending this program is the answer, is the right thing for the families and for our children. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you guys can reconsider this. Thank you.
Thank you. Just for the board, we weren't at the meeting last night. Obviously, we weren't invited. So, no, I'm just joking. We weren't aware of the meeting, but I know we did have some staff that was there. So if they want to let us know what was said or real quick. And then I'll get to, I have three more after that, but if you can do that very quickly, just for the boards, again, I don't believe any of us were there.
I was there, Mr. President.
Okay, I'd be interested in finding out what you said as well.
Yep.
Good afternoon. My name is San Juana Lira. I am the dual language coordinator for Coachella Valley Unified School District. I have been in this position since July of this year. And I was present at last night's meeting along with Ms. Valerie Perez. We did address the parents in regards to the dual language program and the closing of the program. One of the reasons, well, the main reason the program is being closed is because it has low enrollment. Because of the low enrollment, the program is not sustainable. If we're looking at numbers from 3 years ago, the program started in 2021. And at that time, at Kinder, they only had 20 students, which they should have had 24. Because we know as the students progress through the grades, and by the time they get in 4th grade, some of the students leave the program.
So by the time these students entered the fourth grade, now they have 11 in the program. Out of these 22 students, out of these 20 students who entered back in 2020. So every year the new class has started, it has not started with 24 students. It has started with 18. Back in 2021, there was only 18 kinder students enrolled. So as you can see, as they progress through the years, the program is not sustainable. I understand the parents' concerns, and I understand that this is a program that is a wonderful program for the students to become bilingual and biliterate. I'm for the program. I advocate for the program. But in this case, the student demographics, the student population is not there at that school.
We do have a plan that was developed by Ms. Lira in collaboration with the principal. Can you go over the plan, please?
Yes, so we do, the plan is, like we mentioned yesterday to the parents. One of the things that the parents have the option is to remain in the school and enroll their students in the SEI classrooms. And we also explain to the parents, the students are already learning English. By the time they reach third grade, 30% of their time is in English. So the adjustment is not, we're going to be a huge adjustment, but they're learning English. And by the time the students get in fourth grade, 50% of the time is in Spanish and 50% of the time is in English. The students in the dual language program from kindergarten, they start learning English. So they're learning both languages as they're progressing through their grades. So that was one of the options, and I made the parents aware of that option. And then also, I also made them aware that if you are a Spanish speaker and you can also, speak to your children in Spanish at home and continue that language. The other option was to, offer them another school where they can go to another dual language school and have their children participate at that school, and that our district would be offering transportation services for those parents who are willing to have their students attend another dual language program. And
And for the students that do remain or choose to remain at Mount Vista, then the plan that was also developed was to support them as they transition into SEI.
Mhm.
And that plan includes developing a summer school class where intervention curriculum would set in place. And that would be either 95% or corrective reading, as well as they continue to transition for the next school year. Then Ms. Lida will be working closely with the teachers to support them and the students.
right, especially in those English foundational skills that they already started learning in kinder, first grade, second grade, and et cetera, so that the students can access the English and be able to participate in the state testing by third grade.
Yeah. Mr. President, so I attended the meeting last night to hear what their concerns were, but I did make a commitment to come here and ask what Mrs. Paz has already asked for, which is more information, and for superintendent as far as to meet with the parents and have a conversation with them. So a lot of the concerns were the plan and the rollout of the dual language program and the way that it would transition into having kids attend other schools. So parents' concerns, they did not want them to go to another school because they would have some issues in having to go to a new school and make new friends and interact with students. So some of the social emotional issues that students have, that was their main concern. And the concern was that they were just notified also on Friday, and they had the meeting last night. So it's a communication thing, in my opinion, but Ms. Boss has already asked for more information, and I would ask the same thing of Superintendent Esparza. Thank you.
Yeah, I do. I do. This is a program that's dear to my heart, and
Right.
I have a freshman in college who graduated with a dual language certificate, and she's done and continues to do very well. When we started on this idea of dual language across our district, it was a very ambitious ask, right? Because we as a board, all 7 of us, believe that it was probably the metrics that showed that kids that were in dual language, that if we had a staff that bought in, that they would outperform our regular kids. And I think
Right.
the metrics have shown that when the program is rolled out right, that does happen, right? I think generally on the state standardized testing scores, those kids that are in dual language outperform kids that are just in English only classes. I have a question for you. When you said that we started in 2021, the first number you said in Kidner, you said 18, and then you repeated that in 18, you had 20 students. Can you tell me maybe 21 was 18, 22 was how many Kidner?
In 2020, when the program started,
Okay,
20 students.
okay,
And then by the time those students got into first grade the following year,
yes,
we lost 2 students. So
Okay.
they went down to 18.
I got you. So, but, okay, so, and then did we start new Kidner students?
Every year we start a new
How
kinder
many
class.
how many started in 2022? How many Kidner kids?
So in 2022, we started with 15 students.
Wow, okay. And then it just progressively, probably because staff didn't buy in, or whatever, the program, nobody's promoting it. I would imagine that and I'm just assuming, right? Because it seems to me like there's got to be 20 families that want to teach their kids at Mountain Vista. There's got to be 20 families that want to teach their kids 2 languages. I would say that if somebody was promoting it, that you would probably have to turn kids awake because the program, I think, is that good. So our youngest kids are Kidner and our oldest kids are what grade?
4th, we have a 3rd, 4th combo
And then-
because there's 11 students in 3rd grade and 11 students in 4th grade.
That-
So those 2 have to be combined in one classroom.
Those are all of them, 11 and 11.
Yes,
And so by the time I think by the time they're 4th or 5th graders, they're doing 50% English, 50% Spanish, right?
well, by the time they're in 4th grade, they're doing 50% English and 50% Spanish. But because it's a combo, the 3rd graders should be getting still more foundational skills in Spanish so that they can anchor the English language and acquire it at a higher academic level.
And then, so what's staff's recommendation? What's your recommendation that the kids just basically amalgamate into regular curriculum or choose to go to another school? Is that kind of what, and I understand the economics of it. I mean, we can't sustain classrooms with 8 children. It's impossible, right? Financially, the burden, where we're at right now, we just can't sustain that. But I can also hear the plight of the parents, right? That the kids are doing well, the kids are happy, they have all their friends. And I just hope that as the superintendent and as you continue to work on it and breaking the news to them, right? This is not going to start till next year. So I don't know how early we would have broke the news to them. To me, it seems like that's as fast as we could possibly inform them, right?
Right.
And obviously it's not good news, so we're not gonna like what we hear. But I think it's important, as Ms. Spa said, Dr. Spar said, to really meet with the parents to try to get them to understand where we're at.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't sure if I should just hold it for my board report, but I appreciate staff coming to the podium. I know it's uncommon for us to do that during, like public comment. But I think the one thing that I am a little bit concerned is the comment made by a parent that, there's a lack of transparency, a miscommunication or whatnot, right? But I'm really, it's upsetting to hear that parents are just hearing about this yesterday or whenever the meeting was held, right? And so I think as we're continuing these conversations, and I know we've mentioned this since we started this process, right? That we are being transparent. It doesn't sit well to hear that they have the impression that we're trying to keep them in the dark, right? And so I think just making sure that we're doing that and having those conversations with parents and the community. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
I have a question. So the total number of students in that school right now that are in our dual language, how many? From kinder through 4th?
77.
77. Thank you.
So the breakdown is kinder is starting with 22, which should have started with 24 because you see what happens as they get in the older grades. So they're starting with 22. And by the time they get in 4th grade, those classes should have 30 students. Are they gonna have 30 students? No. And then in first grade, there's 21. Second grade has 12. Third grade has 11. Fourth grade has 11, but it's a combo.
So my question is, what types of information sessions do we give on dual language at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, for the next year? I know there are bulletin announcements, but as a parent with a little one in dual immersion right now, I know because I have a nephew that's done beautifully in our program within this district. He's a freshman in high school and is still in the program doing very well. But a very brand new parent, not necessarily knowing the ways and means of this, I don't even know what my rights are for these things. So I don't know if we pushed it enough in this particular school. It sounds like there are parents who want this and could maybe even tell others about it. I'm personally offended about the idea of speak Spanish to your child at home. It is absolutely not the same caliber of education. Like I speak Spanish and I can speak Spanish, but my son can correct me and I believe him because his level is just so different than what I did at school, because that wasn't something that was available to me and my parents worked, and this is just a language that we're losing, unfortunately, in the generations, right? So it's just unfortunate, and I'm sorry to hear what the parents have gone through so far. I think there's still room for improvement. It sounds like we were so close with these kinders, right? 2 more. Had we known and had we brought more meetings out to let parents know. I know that what I heard is parents have issues with the homework. Maybe they need homework help and things like that. If we could provide those types of services for parents, that homework help and tutoring, so that they know that they are also given that as help, because it's a lot of homework. It's a lot of homework, but to see the progress, I mean, beautiful, beautiful. Reading in Spanish in school and then English at home. I mean, without even having it happen at school, really, really amazing. It's disheartening to hear that these parents are now having to scramble and make hard decisions, maybe because we just didn't even try to recruit. Standing on what has happened in the past, it's very difficult for a new parent. Maybe they've moved here, maybe they haven't, to not know what's available to them. We might be able to just get those last few, right? So thank you for the work that you have done, but it just feels like we've fallen short. And unfortunately, these students are now having to scramble, these families. So it's now up to us to find the way forward. The year's not over. So my hope is the year's not over, parents. We'll see what we can do, but.
So one of the things that we are doing as of now, we're doing a kinder roundup. And we're going to every school, every elementary school, and we are promoting the dual language program. Educating the parents of what the dual language is, because I come across a lot of parents in this district that don't understand the dual language program. They just think it's a Spanish program, but it's more than that.
Sure,
And I think that one of the problems stems from the planning of the program. Because in the neighboring district, I raised the program from the bottom up, and I started with 2 kinder classrooms at each school site, because I know that some students leave, and by the time they got to 3rd and 4th grade, we had enough students, like 25, 30 kids out of the 2 kinder classes that started. So I see this issue happening because there's other schools who only have 1 grade of kinder, 1 second, and etc. So I see the pattern. I see that by the time they get to 4th grade, they're gonna have low numbers. So I think that, like Dr. Esparza mentioned, we need to have another system, like an academy, where we have all our dual language students in one site, because like I said, there's only 2 schools at this district that have 2 kinder classes who go up to first grade and et cetera. By the time they get to fourth grade, they become a whole class of 30, at least 30 students. So I mean, the numbers are easy to read.
And that's without necessarily having the meetings with the info and the roundup. I
Right.
mean, it might have been possible, because hearing that we have combo classes in dual, that's like 4 classes for a
Yes.
teacher. That's English
Yep.
and Spanish in both languages. That is
Absolutely.
not easy
Mm-mm.
for a teacher. That's
Yeah.
not easy for anyone. And then to
Right.
figure out what level, because you have to choose what level you're gonna lean towards. That's not easy for anyone. Are our students getting their very best?
Yeah.
So I agree that it sounds like I don't like the idea of combos
Mhm.
for any of these students, because it's already enough on anyone's plate. Students, parents, teachers, that's a lot.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear the ideas of you, but I also think we need to hear that parent input, because it sounds like we have parents that are interested in working with us and getting that word
Mhm.
out. So both.
I just want to make a final comment. You're in a tough position because it's obvious to
Yeah.
me that this program wasn't started correctly by our staff, right?
Right.
There was a directive from the board. There was a lot of excitement that we would become a dual language school district.
Mhm.
And like many things here, restorative practices, it all falls on deaf ears because the people that are to carry it out, they don't set it up right, they don't execute, and here we are. And now the
Right.
parents are paying the consequence of a program that wasn't started correctly. Hopefully, we can figure it out.
Thank you.
I have a comment. Can you remind me of your name again?
San Juana Lira.
San Juana Lira, Miss Lira. Well, first, thank you, because I've heard a lot of good things
Thank you.
about you, and I recognize that you just joined in July.
Thank you.
And one of the things maybe that I would like to request is a study session on the dual language program, because
Mhm.
what we are seeing at this one school and the discussion up here, it's really symptomatic of some of the issues that you've raised, as well, some that you have not raised but have come to us in terms of how well the program has been resourced. Historically, even when we only had like a couple schools, we had heard from teachers there too that the program was not as resourced the way that it should be. So if we are making a decision to be a dual language district, the resources need to follow so that the professional development is there, so that all the recruiting happens, so that all the materials are in place, which I hear, we're not there. So I do request that maybe we have a study session, and that before any decision is made, that we are not hit like the parents abruptly, right? Like there's gotta be like a phasing out or transitioning out, if that's the direction that might happen, but it shouldn't be from one year to the other when you have students in the middle of the program at a school and then all of a sudden it disappears tomorrow. So I understand that this is part, the elimination of the program was included in the stabilization plan. I don't know if that means that this is it and we have no other options, but I do invite you to explore, because maybe it's not too late, and to explore what could happen that's differently. And sitting down with the parents to be part of that conversation. Thank you.
Right. We have a couple more speakers. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. We have a couple more speakers on this issue. Adriana Carrillo, I believe she's a teacher there, correct?
Good evening, board members. I am Ms. Carrillo. I am a teacher in Mount Vista. I've been a teacher for 22 years in this district, teaching dual program in Desert Sands too. So I started this program this year in Mount Vista. I have the 3rd, 4th grade combo, which I agree it's very hard. Not a lot of people will be able to take it. But I adore this program. I love this program, and I everything for this program. This year, I started with noticing that our program in our school was not done correctly, was not promoted correctly. I started in because I know this program is supposed to be no more than the language. It's supposed to have also the cultural aspect. I started doing cultural events. Nothing was promoted into our parents' square. None of our parents got to see what was promoted into a school. I was asked to do this program, but I want to do it correctly. I know I've done meetings at the beginning of the year to promote the program, and I have to do parent meetings at the end of the year to tell how well the program went. I was denied a meeting. I talked and I wanted to do a meeting. By Ed Services, I was denied a meeting to explain to our parents about the program. Okay, so this was not done correctly. I emailed everybody. I promoted Anna, I talked to Anna, our parent liaison, that it was not being promoted. They said that I have to do my flyers. They said that I have to do my thing. So I felt like this is not right. This program is being stopped in here. Yes, this program is new on Mount Vista to me because now kindergarten has 24, first grade has 24. Yes, I do have 11 because it was from the started with low numbers and they're being left behind because it's not being promoted. That's what I do agree with this. This program, that parents are not being told and not being informed what the program should look like. It's not just about education. And we know we can transition kids into the English, but that's not the point. The point is that we want bilingual students. We don't want monolingual students. And we don't want our kids to lose their culture either. So this is why I promote this program and I want to keep this program and I've been fighting for this program. I wish I could have brought all the flyers my students made that they wanted to rally outside to keep our program. I didn't bring them over here, but I said, you know what, we can't do this because we can get in trouble. But since I'm teaching government right now, they want to have democracy, they wanted to do that. But they are and they don't want to move. And especially I told them, I do follow the program and wherever the program is, I'm going to move. They said, well, no, we're going to go with you. But I feel that this program in Desert Sands, here in Mount Vista has not been promoted. Plus the curriculum, here Billy knows that I was fighting for the curriculum because I wasn't given the curriculum. I was supposed to have 50-50. I never received my curriculum in English. And I've told Billy about it. And he said that Ed Services, I gave him the directive not to give me that. So I've been fighting for even to get the curriculum correctly in this program. And I know prior teachers did the same thing. So this is the reason this program is not working in Mount Vista. Okay, thank you.
Sorry. Heidi Rodriguez.
Hello, thank you for having us here. I just want to make a comment about, so my kids started in Mount Vista in 2022. My daughter was in kindergarten and they've been thriving ever since. I have a daughter in second grade and a son in first grade. And parties that we've gone to with our kids, without talking to other parents, older kids as well that have been in the program, they have told us how there some of one of the teachers, she went on maternity leave, and there was a lot of problems with replacing her. There was a lot of substitutes throughout the whole year, and from what I heard from them is that's the reason why they wanted to pull them out of their kids, because they weren't teaching them properly because there was so many substitutes. And I know it's not the teacher's fault. I totally, I'm all for, her having kids and everything, but I think the school should have organized that a little bit better and come up with permanence, or at least if they know that she's going to be gone for so long, because the same thing happened again this year. And I heard it from a lot of parents that they wanted to pull the kids out because of that reason. It wasn't because the program wasn't good or anything. It's because of that. So I just want to bring that up. Also, I wanted to hear more about the notes that you guys took yesterday. I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but she was there and she took a lot of notes, and I didn't really hear her right now say a lot of that stuff that came up yesterday. There was a lot of concerns from a lot of the parents. So yeah, I just want to bring that up to you guys, and thanks again for having us.
Thank you. Next up is Mike Wells.
Good evening, everybody. I'm not here for the Mountain Vista controversy. You guys got your plate full. I came to this venue to request a meeting with Dr. Esparza regarding use of facilities for my Girl Scouts. I've been trying to get a meeting with her for over 2 months now. So I would like to make this public request for that meeting with you to go over that. I'm looking at maybe 20 minutes. So if you could find 20 minutes for me, I would appreciate it. I think your assistant has my contact information. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next up, Alicia, back up.
Well, first of all, I want to say, I feel for the parents. I work at Cesar Chavez and it's a beautiful school. The dual language teachers are doing great. Ms. Paz, you know that. Mr. Gonzalez, you know that. It is what it is. I know it's hard hearing them. You know, it touched my heart. But I'm here because, I said I was coming back and I thought I could do it twice. I left out with the equipments. Okay. What we do with equipment is a lot. There's only one person in technology with 3 schools. I do get iPads. I do the basic, what I learned from them. If it's a setting up or quick, get it fixed, I try my best. When I can't do it, I let the teachers know. Please submit a work order. I can't do it. When there's a sub and something is not working, I'm the first one to hear this. This is not working. I look at my emails at 7:15 and I have emails from teachers what they want. And I continue my job. At 8:30, I've had my first classroom. And then at the end, around 9:30, I look at my emails and then one teacher sends me at 8:30. I need an LCD projector. I have like 2-3 minutes. Get an LCD projector to the teacher. And I say, please submit a work order. So like I say, we do a lot. Our team, the IMAs do a lot. Not just with the with the library. We have more events. And I want to make it clear because I love my team. And I was talking to Billy. I don't want to say what I said to him, but when I can't do my job, Billy will let me know. I don't want to hurt my students. And I feel for the parents. I do feel for it. So that's all I'm going to say. Thank you. And I hope you see you next meeting.
Thank you. Billy Franco, yep. That was the last one I have. So if anybody else that hasn't spoken yet wants to do one, now's the chance.
Okay, good evening, President Acuna, school board members, Dr. Esparza, and extended cabinet. My name is Billy Franco. I am the school district's curriculum resource technician. My duties include the ordering of curriculum materials for the whole district, as well as providing support to the instructional media assistants who are at the library at each of our sites. I come to you tonight to share some more information about what the IMAs do during their current 8 hours a day for 12 months. This week, I've been meeting with the school IMAs and their principals to start collecting data to ensure that we order the necessary materials for the upcoming school year and able to pass the Williams Act legislature. The Williams Act mandates that every California public school provides students with the necessary textbooks and instructional materials for a quality education. When a district fails to comply with this, the consequences are severe. Without adequate textbooks, students are deprived of the resources they need to learn effectively, creating significant barriers to academic success. The ramifications for a district not in compliance go beyond educational gaps. The state holds these districts accountable, and failure to meet these requirements can result in legal action and loss of funding. Additionally, the district may face public scrutiny, loss of community trust, and potential intervention from the state to ensure compliance. These consequences constrain already limited resources and negatively impact the school environment. Ultimately, non-compliance with the Williams Act undermines the mission to provide equitable education to all students, and it can lead to long-lasting financial and reputational damage for the district. On behalf of the IMAs, I urge you to engage in further discussions with the district's negotiating team to fully assess the ramifications of the proposed cuts. The well-being and academic progress of our students are at stake, and we must ensure that their needs remain a priority. If any further clarification is needed regarding the specific duties of IMAs, I am available to meet with you in person to provide additional insights into the IMA's responsibilities. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Can you take board member and superintendent's report? Trustee Martinez. Jimenez? Martinez. Well, it says Martinez Jimenez, so I'm sorry. Trustee Jimenez, it's all yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Isabela Jimenez, and I'm the student trustee for West Shores High School, and I'll be giving the student report today. For La Familia High School, La Familia's counselor is currently meeting up with students who meet the Walter Clark $2,000 scholarship requirements, which students will need to file the application before March 31st. College Career Fair took place on Thursday, February 13th, so students could discover different career pathways and get assistance with any questions or concerns they have about college or the military. College of the Desert, the Marine Corps, and Coalition to End Human Trafficking Organization were presented in the College Career Fair. Dual enrollment students in COD college class are starting off with evaluating their classroom savvy and getting a brief preview of college life. Any questions in mind that is about COD programs or the certificates provided when a student completes a course in a short amount of time. K-12 advisory event took place in JW Marriott, where its purpose is to connect education, business, and industry so students' needs could be met and serve the local community. We want to thank Superintendent Dr. Esparza and CVUSD board members for giving us the green light and allowing us to host La Familia's 2025 prom taking place in the district's building. Students and staff were able to take an AIEP interest survey regarding after-school opportunities in different areas and clubs. About more than 50% picked credit recovery as an interest from the many options. Many students believe it's a great idea and think being involved in clubs after school will help students become more aware and educated in certain topics, as in the Planned Parenthood Club. Then, for Desert Mirage, on behalf of Eric Huerta, he wants to give a thank you to the CVUSD district for the improvements he has noticed. The school lunches have gotten better, and he really enjoyed the pozole and tamales. Oh, that's good. He has also seen the buses are arriving earlier, so now they're not as late as before. He understands that we're going through many layoffs and teacher cuts, and there's not much more that can be done. To the teachers and staff, he truly hopes you can get through this. Despite these challenges, he is glad to say the district has improved a lot, especially for us students. For Coachella Valley High School, on behalf of Lynette Bautista, she has seen significant improvements in their security. She has appreciated the apology from Mr. Castillo. She is grateful for the changes that have been made, including security monitoring their areas more efficiently and effectively. Additionally, she appreciates the restroom doors being fixed and the positive feedback from students about the lunch food. Last but not least, West Shores High School. Our counselor is continuing to meet with students to review transcripts A through G and grad status, as well as selecting courses for next year and adjusting academic plans as needed. We just finished our first ever class rush assembly where teachers presented their AP and advanced courses to all students in order to increase opportunity for all students to take advanced courses. Counselor is working together with the Community School Task Force to prepare, to observe, and begin to prepare for full program implementation. All of our core teachers have received a demo lesson on graduate release, and students are sharing that they like their graduate release model. College and career centers are working closely with counselors to prepare for the college and career fair. We also just finished our Avid write-offs. The best essay from each grade level was chosen, and the winners will be getting an award at Spotlight Casino. Boys soccer just won their playoff game on February 18th and move on to quarterfinals. Go Wildcats! Lastly, we're thankful that we had our community our community school coordinator start last week, Azucena Mayorga. Our students are also grateful for our new shade structures placed on our fields and can't wait to put them to good use. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Moving on to board member reports. Board member Torres, would you? Okay, board member Garcia.
Thank you so much to everybody who has spoken to us. As always, it's very important for us to hear how things are shaking out. We've had some very difficult things in front of us this year, but we need to hear how the rubber's going to meet the road, right? And really troubleshoot if we don't have a clear enough plan in place. We need to hear that so we can make the adjustments we need to. So always, please, please come to us with your concerns. This is how we're going to know. Some of us didn't even know there was a meeting happening yesterday. So all of this, very important. Thank you so much for everyone who talks to us and everyone who submits the electronic. We also get those and we do read them, or I read them. So please, please, continue to have a discussion with us. This is your district. We need to know what you want from us. We're going to continue to have discussions with Dr. Esparza about how all of this is going. We've clearly already talked about concerns about the way some of this has gone. We want more information and clear plans, transitions, if transitions are going to be necessary. If there's a way to save things, by all means, I've already signaled that I would like to cut the least amount that we possibly can with all that we have in front of us. So it's not easy. None of this is easy. But we need to find a way to make it what our students need, what this district needs. So thank you so much for everyone who continues to have that discussion with us. I think we've already asked for the reports earlier in the meeting as far as a better understanding for dual language, meeting with the parents of Mountain Vista. So as far as that goes, you've already heard that. Thank you so much for everyone and just hang in there. We're not done yet. We voted on the worst of this. It doesn't mean that's going to be what it is in the end. Hopefully it's not. Thank you.
Board member Arredondo.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for everybody that's here. Thank you for the advocacy from our parents and for everybody that attended the meeting at Mount Vista. Just wanted to share a few more notes for the record. So there's a lack of communication for the dual language program. They talked about transportation issues and transporting kids to other schools, right? They talked about having enough teachers at the schools. There was 45 parents, roughly 45 parents present at the program, at the meeting last night. And they really talked about promoting the program and the lack thereof and how parents don't know that we're a dual language school district. And I also heard a lot of concerning comments regarding parents wanting to move their kids from the district. So my concern, Dr. Esparza, is that I've already shared with you, and you've heard, and I think the community has heard that this board is committed to the dual language program, but also committed to doing a review as Ms. Bass has asked us to ask the district to do. So, but thank you to all the parents that showed up. We were listening. We were there. We hear your concerns, and I believe that we're going to continue to address the issues of the dual language program at Mount Vista. So, and Dr. Esparza, I know we talked about this at night as well. So, thank you. So I'd like to thank staff once again on the sports field renovations. We had the unveiling at a couple schools. Thank you to staff, and I know that tomorrow there's a whole group of schools that we're gonna be unveiling, and these play structures look really, really good. And thank you to staff and everybody who did that. I also want to give a shout out to the Coachella Valley High School boys varsity team. They did really well. I know they're in the playoffs, and I haven't kept up as to how they're doing. I know our girls soccer team also traveled out yesterday to play out in the LA area. So thank you to all our coaches that are taking our students out there, and our students that are competing and doing really, really well. The boys varsity basketball team, wow. I mean, they were competing against this team that was had about a couple, he just was taller than them, and just to see our students really, really fast and playing good basketball. It was good to be there at the game about a week and a half ago at Coachella Valley High School. So thank you to all our teams that are doing really, really well across our district. I think it's important. So yeah, I mean, thank you to our transportation department that's getting our buses there on time. Thank you to all our staff here in the district office who's getting some of these requests and taking care of what we need to for our school district. So I also we know we're gonna have more information on dual language for the parents, and that we're transparent into what we're doing. And yeah, my last comment would be that I know that there are schools that are doing really, really well in terms of testing, and so I want to give a shout out to Peter Pendleton Elementary, who's done really, really great, and the teachers there at Peter Pendleton Elementary have done really, really great in teaching our students. That they've moved our students up to sort of the green level in our testing, and I believe that, and I'll continue to advocate for a play structure, for not a play structure, but we know that the cement is really, really bad there, and I know that we're dealing with budget cuts, but for a school where the students, the teachers, the parents have all come together, I'm going to continue to advocate for that cement to be replaced, because our kids deserve a play area where they can play every day. And so I'm going to continue to advocate for that, Dr. Esparza. So thank you, Mr. President. That's all I have.
Thank you. Real quick, I was told that you wanted to request something to be on the agenda item as well. During this time, you can also request, so I just wanted to make sure if you wanted that on as an action item, as a discussion item, or you wanted to just let me know.
Yeah, so
I can put it on.
I have, as in my job, Mr. President, I have taken students from neighboring districts to Ironwood State Prison for a program called Life's Too Short, where students get to speak to inmates and have inmates share their stories with them. And what I've talked to Dr. Esparza is, I know that given our budget constraints, that I'm willing to cover the cost for a bus to take students from our local schools to the program as well. But I asked that if there's any conflicts or anything for me covering the cost, and then I just want to communicate that to the board so that we can possibly put it on the agenda, or if it's not doable, then at least we know it's not doable.
Okay, I just wanted to make it clear if you wanted it for discussion of doing a program like this. Obviously, you personally can't do it, but we would have to have our own staff do it.
Correct.
So that's
Correct.
why I wanted to make clear what you wanted on.
Yes, so given that, I just want to say that I'd cover the transportation costs for our students to go down there, and I wouldn't be involved, but our staff would be involved. So I'd like to have that. However, we can bring that on to the next.
All right, so Dr. Esparza, if you would make sure that gets on for a discussion item at the next agenda. All right, thank you. Board Member Gonzalez. Board Member Paz.
Yes, I'm just gonna give my unsolicited opinion on your last item, but maybe, I mean, if there's gonna be staff, I guess it's not just an informational, but just, I think what I heard Trustee Arredondo's like some direction to, could he do it? What would it look like? So some type of planning or investigating whether, he asked whether it would be conflict. I don't know, things that maybe questions that he has that need to be looked at before in preparation for the next meeting, but so thank you everyone for coming. Thank you to the parents and the teachers of the dual language program. I hope that you felt heard. I do think it's really important, and as a parent, I can put myself in your shoes, right? So thank you for being here. The meetings from now until July are going to be difficult meetings, right? I mean, we've already made some very difficult decisions in our plan, a stabilization plan, and now I know there were a lot of conversations. There still needs to be items that are being negotiated between the unions and the school district, and so. But the plan is the plan. The negotiations might alter some things. We don't know how the negotiations are going to go and what they're going to result in. And so I just think that, or I ask for that sort of understanding that there might still be things that impact, right? The end result, depending on some negotiations and other things that are still being worked out. Nonetheless, it will be every meeting from now until the actual adoption of the budget is going to be a very difficult meeting. March coming up, and the notices that are going to be out, it's never easy for people to hand them out or for people to receive them. So I just wanted to just express that and let you know. I mean, we're going to continue to just make the decisions that we have to make, but really appreciate you continuing to show up and letting us know what you're seeing and how things are impacting you. I'm not going to repeat the requests because I think you've got them, but thank you.
Vice President Burks.
Yeah, just I also want to thank the public, parents, the staff who came out and shared their concerns with the program. I think being bilingual, we have seen the data that staff have shared with us about the successes. So it is hard, to make those decisions, where to cut, right? I really do appreciate, folks coming out and sharing not just concerns, but just their experience, right? And I think for me, it's, I think I've always thought about the inequities, right? Like if you happen to get lucky and have someone that's just pushing for something, and I don't think that should be the case, right? I think we should have exceptional programs like across our district, right? And so, whether it's been poor promotion or outreach that we haven't done our job, I think we need to be better, right? It's definitely a disservice to our students not doing so. And I think we're seeing it here, right? The fact that we don't have the numbers and we're making decisions based on the numbers and what's sustainable and what's not, considering our budget deficit. So, I'm just hoping that as we're having the conversations the next coming months, we've been having conversations around assessing our effectiveness, how we're using every single dollar and cent. And so I know that we are having conversations around, programs, not just our dual language program, but all our programs, right, to make sure that we are using every single dollar to the best that we can do so. So I just appreciate everyone coming out. Thank you to staff who share emails and bring communication, just sharing concerns and things for us to look and consider as we have these conversations. And that's it for me. And thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to make it short. Again, thank you to everyone who came out to give their opinions. I've always said, regardless if you are nice to me or bad to me, it doesn't really matter. The fact that you get off the couch and come out here and talk to us tells you that you're engaged, and that's always a good thing, regardless. I won't repeat what we talked about, the dual language. They're going to look into that. They'll do their due diligence, and we'll be able to get some answers. I just wanted to mention a couple of other things. I was also at the groundbreaking for the ribbon cutting for the two schools where we did the renovations, and then we'll be doing 3 more tomorrow. One of the things that I pressed upon, especially to the kids and also to the staff, that we can fix them, we can make them nice, but it's now their job and their responsibility to take care of them. Because if not, in 3 years, we're going to be right back spending all the money if we don't take care of them. And that was not only the kids, but also the staff. And we mentioned to our team out there that we handed them off to them and now it's their job to take care of them. So, you know, it's very expensive what we're doing. We're able to do that through certain funding that we have. That's not the general fund. But again, we need to take care of our things in that way as well. And as you know, we've had a lot of break-ins in our valley and, you know, targeted, you know, portables and stealing stuff. And, you know, these are people from our community stealing from our kids. And we all need to, you know, if we know something, so we need to take care of our things. We cannot, well, we have to keep replacing all those things that they steal, but then it comes at a cost and other things. So just reminding everyone, it's all of our responsibilities to take care of our things in our district. Other than that, Mr. Arredondo, I'll put that on the agenda for you. And then if there was anything else that any board member wanted on the agenda, we will just let me know and we'll get it on there for that. I think my final comment is, as Board Member Paz mentioned, we're going to have difficult meetings all the way till we pass a budget and then even probably past that as well. For those of us who are still going to be here. The thing to remember, as she mentioned, we don't know what's going to happen with negotiations. We have contingency plans that we really don't want to do. But that'll happen. We don't know how many people are going to retire. That's also going to be something that tells us how many people we need to let go, how many people we can backfill, and some of our programs. But again, and I appreciate the parents coming here, but there's a lot of other programs that we cut that I didn't particularly want to cut, but you know, we can't play favorites in some ways, right? We can't stand up here and say, well, this is my project. I really like this one. I'm not going to vote for it. We have to kind of look at it across the board, and how it affects us personally shouldn't be how we vote, right? And again, you know, parents are just trying to be honest. Obviously, we have to look at it in a broader space, but there are still things to come. The final budget from the state, that's also gonna maybe affect some of what we do, some other factors. So, you know, we'll keep doing what we do, and hopefully you'll be getting the information, the correct information. And you know, we'll try to do a better job in communicating. Again, I didn't know you had a meeting last night, so I was not able to attend. But again, we have been talking about this since we put out the plan. It was in the plan, which we started working on December, right? So it was kind of already out there. And again, you guys are busy trying to pay your bills and, you know, take care of your kids. We need to do a better job and let you know. But that information has been there since probably December, that we were looking at cutting these positions and these programs. So again, going back to, we need to do a better job of communicating with everybody as well. So, and with that, Dr. Esparza.
Thank you for that. Mr. President, if I can, I forgot something. I think we pulled out the calendars from the agenda. So just on that, when it comes back, if we can get more options than just 4 options with 3 weeks of Christmas break and all of that. I do, if you see me closing my eyes, is because I have a headache and I think it's turning into a migraine. So if I leave, please excuse me, but I'm not closing my eyes out of disrespect or because I'm bored. I'm just getting this bad headache. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Any last comments then? Moving on. All right, Dr. Esparza.
So I want to thank the parents who came out, but I want to inform the board, and I have been bringing this up, that the principal needs to have the conversation with the parents first. And the principal requested that the district support her in having this conversation. So that's why that happened that way. And of course, we want to be able to go out there. We want to be able to also give some insight, not just to Mountain Vista, but to all the schools on where they're at in regards to enrollment, what the trends have been, exactly like you stated, the study, because we don't want to close dual language programs. And I know you said, you know, we've closed programs, and that's one thing that under my leadership, I would not want to do across the board. I know this is it was a difficult decision, and having those conversations with the principal. And I appreciate that I'm hearing that there were requests for recruitment And yes, the district does need to do a better job because you know what? I believe 110% in dual language. I am a product of one of the first dual language programs from the 70s. I know I don't look at, no, I'm just kidding. But yes, you know, we need to do better in making sure that we're recruiting and that we're keeping our students, but not just keeping our students there, that we're really creating bilingual and biliterate students because they have so many more opportunities as they move into, you know, either the workforce or college or university and beyond. And so I know a lot of teachers and myself being a teacher first, a lot of us know two languages, especially in this community, in the community that I was raised and I worked in LA and LA Unified. And so dual language is one of the most requested programs and in other languages as well throughout Los Angeles. So the fact that we're in this community and we're being told students aren't being enrolled in these programs, it's difficult. That's very difficult. It's been very hard for me to swallow that. And so, yes, we do need to do better at recruitment. And I'm going to bring something to the board to see what it is that we can do. Because again, I do believe 110%. And like I said, I'm a product of it. And I'm very proud to be a product of the dual language program from City Terrace Elementary School. So thank you, parents, once again. Thank you for coming out and sharing. I want to thank Terry Kedover from Do the Right Thing. She's actually put it out to CVUSD for us to be a part of it as well. It's always been Desert Sands and Palm Springs and Desert Sands and Palm Springs. And they finally tapped into us and said, hey, would you like to come along? And I said, of course, because our students need to be recognized for doing the right thing. And they usually have 5 or 10 applications. We put the application out and we have over 120 applications right now. And I know they're going to be overwhelmed and say, wow, CVUSD has amazing kids. And so we know that it's probably going to be 200 by the time they get it. They get all the applications and they have to decide. So they're probably going to have to hire more people to go through all the applications just for CVUSD. But we're so happy that our principals and our teachers and our staff are actually turning in those applications and identifying students who are champions. So thank you for that. I do want to thank the facilities committee and the board members and the facilities staff here who really did an amazing job at Cesar Chavez and at Coral Mountain. And I know we're going to be able to do some more ribbon cuttings. We invite you to join us. We'll be putting it out to make sure that we have more parents there. We should have the parents there. We should have the teachers there. We should have the classes there watching and seeing everything that has happened from the beginning to what the playgrounds and the structures look like to where we're at now, and making sure that our students understand that they deserve this. And so thank you everyone who put the time and effort, and of course the state for those monies to be able to get that going for us. CSEA, we do know that the district has made requests to negotiate, and that there's a lot because the contract is also up. And so there's negotiations, and we can't wait for CSEA to sit down with us and be able to start negotiating on some of those opportunities for our IMAs and for our ELSAs and for staff that we want to make sure that we can bring back. And I know that you don't want to hear that it's reduction in hours or reduction in years. And that's why in the fiscal stabilization plan, it has either all or some. And so if you go back and you look at it, it's on board docs. It shows what it looks like with the layoffs and without the layoffs, because we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to still, again, give some of our staff the opportunity to take on those jobs, even though it is with less hours. And I want to thank all our student trustees again. Isabella, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yesterday, we met with all the student trustees and all of the extended cabinet for them to be able to voice what it is that they would like to see at their schools and what it is that they appreciate about the district. And so they're very modest and humble, but they come with some great ideas as well. And so we're working together to make sure that we're hearing the voices of our students as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sparza. Okay, moving on, item six, yes. Information presentations, Director Antoni, the LCAP. Mid-year update.
Are they going to bring up the presentation slides? So they're going to bring up the slide presentation. What you have that was also attached to this agenda item is this booklet, which is a collaborative effort from Ed Services and Fiscal to bring you this mid-year update in detail. I'm Karen Petney. For those of you who don't know me, the Director of State and Federal Projects. I'm happy to be here this evening to share this mid-year LCAP update with you. And this update is has expenditures through January 31st, 2025. So every LCAP goal and action is updated with expenditures through January 31st. And then in addition to what we're seeing right now on the screen, you have the detailed mid-year update. Thank you. So overall in our LCAP, we have $201.8 million allocated over 5 different goals in our LCAP. You'll see by far the largest allocation is for goal 1, and that is because it is focused on our instructional framework and also our academic success for our students, followed by goal 2, which is focused on student well-being and social emotional wellness. Goal 1, as many of you know, is to create equitable access to educational opportunities that will lead to academic success for our students. So for each of the actions and each goal, we have broken it down in detail. Goal 1, we'll start with goal 1. We have the total LCAP budget. We have the expenditures through the end of January for positions, any extra services, contracts, other costs and indirect costs. And then the total expenditures and what is the remaining balance for that particular action in the LCAP. Other costs could include things such as instructional materials, technology, transportation, conferences, supplies. And the indirect costs are general management costs that are necessary for the operation of the district. And so that includes payroll and personnel, purchasing, centralized data processing. So you'll see here in 1.1, we have the implementation of the multi-tiered system of supports. We have our supplemental supports to strengthen our instructional core, and we have our academic enhancements and supplemental programs. And continuing in goal 1, 1.4 is our highly qualified educational staff. You can see the what's budgeted and the remaining balance in that particular action is 1.8 million. We have our college and career readiness that includes all of our CTE programs. And then we have our multilingual and multicultural education, of which dual language is a part of. And 1.7 is our Title I and LCFF site allocations and also state and federal support and technology. And then finally, 1.9 is support for our early learners. So of the total $121.4 million that was allocated in goal 1, the total expenditures are $104.4 million, leaving a balance of $17 million. Goal 2 is to provide equitable access to health and wellness to ensure social, emotional, and academic success.
Excuse me real quick. As you go through these goals, I didn't know if anybody wanted to ask questions during the goals or if anybody, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't know if you wanted to skip over and then keep going back. So if anybody had any questions on goal 1, just wanted to kind of give everybody an opportunity. I actually did have a question. Obviously, we're in February. Some of these we've already spent or overspent in certain categories. So that doesn't, that means, I'm assuming like some of the staffing has been encumbered. That's why it's there. It's
Yes,
not-
the
It hasn't been
staff-
spent yet, technically spent yet, but it's been encumbered. Is that? how-
Exactly.
I just want to make sure that we understand that if we have staffing, that's what that's covered and it's not like we still have to pay all that. That's why that encumbered. And then I did have one question on one of the categories. You're over by about 1.5 million. Can't remember, was it one of the first ones?
Yes.
Where does that money come from? The extra money we've already spent that we've over budgeted in that one.
So that that money is going to be supplemented with positions that haven't been filled with vacancies in the LCAP this year. And that money is largely transportation costs that were over budget. So that's 1.2. And
So
then
again, my question would be where we getting that money from that we over budgeted?
it's still within the LCAP. We will move it from positions that weren't filled, that were vacant for the year to make up that difference in the LCFF budget.
Just a quick reminder that when I think a couple of years ago, we asked that before you guys started moving money around, that you brought it back to the board for approval to be able to do that. So.
Yes.
Yeah, question?
No, it was that, it wasn't very clear to me. It wasn't making sense. So we have a deficit in 1.2, so we're gonna move from goal 1, either 1.1 or whatever other, and reallocate to cover that cost.
We have in our LCAP, we have both general fund and LCFF supplemental. So because we do have to cover that cost, we will look at what areas that we are not utilizing that we can possibly move those expenditures to. But overall, you'll see as of goal 1, we are not in the negative. And thank you for pointing out the total expenses do include salaries and also contracts for the entire year.
Mr. President, yeah, my question is, why does the indirect cost rate vary from 17 to 24%? Is that determined by the voting agency and do we get approval for that?
The indirect cost rate varies depending on what, if it's LCFF dollars, if it's a categorical program. Some of them have specific maybe you can only have a 3% indirect, for example, if you're looking at Title III dollars. So it does vary depending on how that action is funded.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So goal 2, we have expanded learning, we have student support services, student attendance services, and transformational model social emotional wellness. So you'll see what was originally budgeted, what the total expenditures are, and then the remaining balance. Our total budget for goal 2 is 61.7 million. As of January 31st, we have spent 28.2 million, leaving 33.4 million a balance. Questions about goal 2? Goal 3 is to strengthen parent and community partnerships through effective communication for student success. So we have 3 actions in goal 3: parent engagement, communication to our educational partners, and community engagement. The total budget for goal 3 was 4.5 million, of which we have $337,031 remaining. Goal 4 is to provide professional learning to build the capacity of all staff to enhance learning. So we have 5 actions in goal 4. The first 4 actions are implementing the multi-tiered system of support for professional learning. Goal 4, action 4.1, it's focused on extra services, which is for professional development for teachers who may attend summer training or training outside of their workday. 4.2 is focused on contracts for vendors that provide professional development for us, such as Gary Soto or Thinking Maps. 4.3 is for conferences. And 4.4 is for substitutes so that teachers can be released from the classroom to attend trainings that happen throughout the school year during the school day. And 4.5 is for our induction teachers. We have induction teachers that work with all all of our new teachers who go through a 2-year induction program before they can clear their credential. So these induction teachers will coach and mentor them and engage in best practices for teaching with them. And so of the $13.9 million that was budgeted for goal 4, we have a little over $4 million remaining. Any questions about goal 4? Good. Okay.
But actually, I'll ask it at the end. It's a good
Okay.
question to wait till, yeah.
Goal 5 is for La Familia, and it is a equity multiplier goal because La Familia has a higher non-stability rate, meaning they're more than 25% of their students don't begin and end the school year at La Familia, so they call that non-stability rate, and a high low income rate. They qualify for this equity multiplier LCFF funding. And so their goal is to improve their student outcomes that are reported on the California dashboard by using the multi-tiered system of supports. And specifically, they are looking to increase their graduation rate, their percentage of students who are college and career ready when they graduate, and also their performance on the CASP, ELA, and math state tests. So of their $204,206 budget, they have total expenses of $90,709 with $113,497 remaining. So this is the impact of the state budget on the district budget as reflected in our LCAP. When the district adopted the LCAP in June, on June 27th, 2024, the state budget was not complete. And so funding amounts were preliminary estimates. And when the state finalized their budget, the impact for CVUSD is shown here as follows. So for our total overall LCFF funding, the impact was a reduction of $45,834 for our LCFF supplemental concentration funds, which are generated based on our enrollment of English learners, low-income students, and foster youth. The actual enrollment numbers, now that we have the actual enrollment numbers, it reflects a difference in the preliminary allocation of, and it reflects a difference of $261,119 in reduction. Any questions about that part?
So, so I heard you say earlier that you're projecting a surplus on the LCAP or money that will be carried over. Is that what I'm hearing or no?
No, what you're hearing is, so every year when we build the LCAP budget, we're basing it on a projection of the following year's enrollment. And then when we get the actual enrollment, we see if the where the numbers, sometimes we have an increase, sometimes we have a decrease in the LCFF dollars once the state budget is finalized and we have our actual enrollment numbers. But when we bring it to the board in June, the state budget isn't finalized until July 1st. So we're using our best preliminary estimate of our state funding.
Correct, but we do have higher enrollment numbers, correct, Dr. Esparza?
This is based on October 1st CBEDS when they do the enrollment.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Nothing further.
You're welcome.
I have a question. So under most goals, you have a remaining balance, which is good. We're not overspending on every goal.
Right.
Are we expecting to utilize all that money that remains? What are your projections sort of between now and the end of the school year? Where might we end with those remaining fund balances?
We are expecting to use those funds on this year's students. Where we won't have use all of the funds is where we have vacancies throughout the different actions in the LCAP. And some are LCFF funds, some are Title III funds, some are Title I. They're all different budgets.
Do you have an estimate of, how much maybe we might end up, and then what happens with those balances? Do they carry forward to the next LCAP or?
I know we've been working on it. We're working on fiscal's working on their second interim. We'll have a better idea. What we have, what might be able to be carried over for LCFF, for all of the categorical budgets as well.
Just kind of go back and remind that we changed that a few years ago, that before you make those changes, that it has to come back to the board for approval to see if we agree with where you want to spend the money or how you want to carry it over, because again, they were voted on for a specific purpose. And in the past, the very past, before when it all started out, we would never see that. And so that's the reason for that, is to see what we didn't spend it on, and then what you want to spend it on. Can you plan to finish using the money that the board feels that it's in the same spirit of how we originally voted to use it for the students or for whatever reason.
Right. Okay. So moving forward, in this year's LCAP process, right now we're in the input and development for the 25-26 LCAP. So in this month and last month, we have been seeking our input from educational partners, and we are continuing to do the analysis for program effectiveness, which is largely what the mid-year LCAP is. When we state what's the implementation of each action and what is the effectiveness. And in February, March, and April, we are drafting and sharing the 25-26 LCAP. And then we move into the share and refine phase in April and May. We will present the 25-26 draft to the board and our advisory committees, and then bring back the input and feedback and refine the LCAP in May and June. June 12th, we bring it to the board for the public hearing, and then June 26th, we will bring the 25-26 LCAP back for approval, and then submit to RCB by June 30th, which is required.
The input that we collected, that included staff.
Yes, we're currently working on all of our LCAP surveys are active for staff and families and students. And I'll share those numbers with you in just a minute, what the participation rates look like. But yes, that is part of it. But also we are including the feedback we get from the Listen and Learn tours and our LCAP advisory groups, as well as other advisories such as DLAC and students.
Yeah, I'm curious to know about the participation rates.
Yes.
I don't know if you'll share that later.
So this is our LCAP Roadshow. And so each site has committed to having at least one LCAP presentation for their families. And they have a representative from the district who supports them with that. And then the families have the opportunity to do the LCAP survey. Currently, 1,000 families have completed the survey. Our staff, we will provide at school sites, departments, and ed services all collaborate to provide the LCAP Roadshow presentation to staff, both classified and certificated. Sites share the presentation with their certificated and classified staff yesterday. And then we provide them with the opportunity and the time to complete the LCAP survey. So yes, as of this afternoon, 673 certificated staff had completed the survey and 41 classified staff. The classified LCAP survey was revised and it opened this today. So that's why the numbers are so different. And then for students in grades 4 through 12, they received the LCAP presentation, and then during their SEL lesson this week in school, they had the opportunity to do the LCAP survey. And so currently we have over 2,000 students have completed the LCAP survey as of this afternoon. Our goal, of course, is for 100% of our families, staff, and students to complete the survey, so that we have great input and feedback from all of our educational partners. And any questions? I think Mr. Arredondo, you had comment, question?
No, actually, my question was exactly what Miss Trustee Paz had, so just
Oh.
wanted to know if we had money left, because some of these goals had money left over. I wanted to make sure.
It is, and it's still early to tell as well, because we do have, 4 more months of school remaining. And the numbers that we're pulling are from Galaxy, which can lag a month or two behind as well. So we don't want to jump the gun and then not having the money we need for those actions.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Is staff tasked? I know last year, all the sites were, like tasked or challenged to meet a certain goal, or are staff still engaged? Okay, great.
Yes, and staff and students, and students are rewarded with PBS rewards if, when they complete it, or their parents complete it as well. So we still have incentives, yes. Yes.
Anybody else have any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
welcome. You're welcome.
Alrighty. Let's get to it. Item 7.1, action, Dr. Esparza, California School Boards Association, Subregion 18A Delegate Assembly Election. You're asked to vote for, how many of them? I believe it was. Let's see, I have it here. We are asked to vote for 6 on this list. I will take suggestions of anyone wanting to. Obviously, I would recommend we support our locals who are on here.
We just make a recommendation, or?
Yeah, I mean, there's anyone, however we want to do this is. Again, the only one I would recommend is Madonna Brell. She's a board member at Palm Springs Unified. Also happens to work for us, so I would recommend that we vote for her, and then pick whoever else you want.
Yes.
I'm good with that. Anybody else have any recommendations or suggestions? I'm gonna just pick them and you guys will say, okay.
That's a good idea.
Trying to think if there's districts that are kind of similar to us, maybe in demographics, or,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep. That's why I asked if you guys had any suggestions. You just go down the list of names and you guys could say yes or no. Huh? Douglas Corona from Paris Unified Elementary School District. Cleveland Johnson from Moreno Valley Unified School District. Joseph Komrosky from Temecula Valley Unified School District. Nicholas Pardee from Marietta Valley Unified School District. Kenneth Prado from Hemet. David Sanchez from Beaumont. Steve Schwartz from Temecula Valley. Nancy Young from Marietta. Paris, Beaumont, kind of like ours, but so are the other ones in some cases.
Well, we don't necessarily have to select the 6. I think if we just feel comfortable maybe voting for
This one,
the one, and then.
we can do that too. Up to you guys.
This is a very interesting methodology of how we're gonna endorse a candidate. We know nothing of these people.
They have
brought up,
bios. Yeah.
school districts that are pretty interesting right now, right? You start talking about Temecula and the situation over there. I think, and then again, as we participate in CSBA the budgetary challenges that we have. I know I went last year. I started looking around the room. I can't imagine how much money we spent. The district spent. I'd like to see that number. I don't know, is it 3,500 bucks a head? And it was just a lot of money and a lot of resources and maybe well spent, maybe not. I think we need to look at all of this in a different lens, especially where we're at. But I think in picking these candidates, I would task our superintendent to make a recommendation of who she might support and why, right? Rather than us looking at a list of names that I know nothing about any of these people, right?
I just to remind you, they have bios that were attached to the agenda item. We've had them since Monday.
Yeah, I know nothing about any of these people aside from the bio, right? I've never worked with anybody there, so I obviously our employee, I would support her. I personally would probably abstain from voting for anybody else. That's my personal.
Do you want to just make a recommendation? We only vote for the one? Or is
If that's
there
what the
anybody else
board-
on the list that you guys?
That's if that's.
I mean, I know a bunch of them, but again, it's just my own personal opinion, so that's why I'm saying.
I'm fine with voting with one.
Huh?
I'll make the motion and I'll accept that as a friendly amendment, Mr. Cunha, to add those two.
So you're talking about Mr. Prado and Mr. Sanchez and Ms. Guerrero, right? Those three? Just those three?
That's a motion. That's a second, Ms. Garcia.
That's a motion and a second to just support those three. You good, or do you know?
I mean, I'm looking at the bios.
Call the question, Mr. Cunha.
You good? You still listening? We have a motion and a second to endorse Mr. Prado, Mr. Sanchez, and Ms. Guerrero from Palm Springs Unified. All those in favor?
Aye.
Student trustee? Okay. All those opposed? Motion carries to, so you can do this for Ms. Guerrero, Mr. Prado from Hemet, and Mr. Sanchez from Beaumont. Just those three. Okay. All right. Okay, moving on, item 8.1. Principal Williams, adoption of board resolution. This is for Mr. Williams, yes. 2025-35 authorization to add cheerleading to the Coachella Valley Unified School District as a CIF sanctioned sport.
I motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions?
Yeah, it says here that there's no fiscal impact. However, doesn't this change the sport a bit? And would there be any associated expenses as a result?
So what happens is that every school has a budget for their sports program. They would be able to be included. What they've been doing is they've been fundraising and they've been trying to get organizations to help them, just like they have like for camp and stuff like that. And they've also come and asked us to be able to pay for their camps. And so this will give them an opportunity to actually be funded through the sports program at the school.
What I also see in a program like this is this could trend in a lot of excitement. And I mean, here at CV High School, look at our football program and the revenue that it generates just because the community comes out and supports it. And it's kind of an exciting proposition, cheerleading. This could, I just seems like something that could get going and become, something that would attract people to come and support, the concession stand and the tickets at the door. But I think, there's a lot of expertise put into this work and a lot of commitment by the young ladies and the coaches. And I think this is kind of cool that we're formalizing and that we could support such a program.
It also gives them the opportunity to enter more elite competitions.
Sure.
And again, while this was, like, assuming initiated by CV High School, this would affect all our district, not just CV High School, so. And then obviously, as a coach, as an authorized or a sanctioned sport, that would go, the stipend for a coach would be fall in line with just all the other sports that would have, so they would automatically be part of that as well. So that would be where to pick up the costs, where you're talking about some of the costs. So, any other questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.2, Principal Sotelo requesting approval of purchase increase with ODP Business Solutions for Desert Mirage High School.
Motion.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? I have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.3, the Director Gonzalez requesting approval of purchase with Go for Sport for Sparks Fitness, professional development and curriculum quotes. QT 188752, professional development, and quote 195799, subscription, and then the quote 188758, equipment packs. Do I hear a motion for?
Motion.
Do I hear a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions?
What's this note that says, it's for a 6-year adoption option? And one of the documents, one of the quotes, it says, pricing on this food is for a 6-year adoption, but it's not, what's the word? I'm sorry. This isn't like a contract, like we're bound to like have this for 6 years. It's just the pricing that we're getting.
I can answer that. So it is a 6-year plan. So it's a purchase for 6 years. The issue right now is that what we have right now, it's outdated. It's 15 years old. The plan does come with professional development, and in the past, instead of sending our certificated, classified, and contract staff out, they're actually going to come to the district and train them here. So that alleviates that travel cost. Another addition to purchasing the 6-year plan was that it was less expensive than not. And then as the curriculum updates, then we get the updated curriculum.
Oh, well.
But it's a one-time expense, or are we paying every year? One-time expense. So once we pay this 250,000, that's it for 6 years. Correct. Thank you. You're welcome.
Unless we need to replace equipment. Just to be fair. They bust the wall, they're gonna have to replace it, so it's not totally. Not that. All right, any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Student trustee? Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 8.4. Director Gonzalez requesting approval of purchase with 95% group for ELOP summer programming 2025, elementary to 8th grade summer programming curriculum. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions on this? No, seeing none. I have a quick question. This is just for summer school, correct? This curriculum is just for summer school? Right? Okay, and we're not gonna have any more because this is a K through 8th one, so that would cover all of that?
Yes, we do have one that is going to be coming, and that's corrective reading. So what this is, and if I can have Karina de la Peña come up and further explain this, because 95% is geared for a certain grade level, which I believe is K through 2nd, and it teaches the foundational skills, and then comes corrective reading.
Didn't need you to come up and do a presentation. I just wanted to ask. This was just summer
explanation.
school, and if there was any more coming for summer school.
The corrective reading.
Okay. Sorry. Don't
Yes or no?
need a whole explanation.
So does that mean that it can only be used by summer school?
That was my question, if this is
Like,
only for summer.
Yeah, well, I think I'm reading the question separately, like, yeah, we're purchasing it for summer school, but what happens? We have the curriculum, what happens throughout the year? How else might it be used? Are there plans? I mean, it doesn't make sense to have curriculum just sitting there.
Good evening, everyone. This is like a one-time purchase, and the only things that would have to be repurchased anytime we want to use the curriculum again is the consumables, which are not very expensive, but we can use it for every summer school that we have. This is program that is focused on foundational routines and reading foundations. And we can use it for tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 to supplement the instruction in phonemic awareness, phonics, vocabulary. We had an opportunity to see the program in action in Hemet, and it's a very successful program. It is designed for grades kinder through 5th grade, but for 3rd through 5th would be for the students that do not qualify for corrected reading because their reading abilities are extremely low. So it is a program that we can use during the school year, and it's a program that we can also consider to use for after-school program. It is extremely powerful in the reading foundations and learning to read, increasing vocabulary and academic language. So if we continue to use a program, the only thing that we would have to purchase if we run out of is the consumables that students use. But the program includes an online component. It also includes hands-on activities, and it also includes a section where teachers can create, or not create, but utilize the lessons that are already made for them for even extra intervention during the classroom during the intervention time.
Thank you.
I have a question. If there's an opportunity for us to utilize this curriculum throughout the year, but the only staff that's trained to implement is summer school staff, or is that something that would align with like our curriculum, the strategies we use throughout the year?
So the idea would be that we train all teachers, especially in the lower grades, because we do have a pretty powerful, we are right now piloting corrected reading, which would be the ideal program to have because of the level of instruction and also improvement within the program. And for 95%, it would have to be something that we put in place for training, but we would also be ready to provide that training for our teachers and coaches and principals.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. All those in favor?
Hi.
Student trustee? Any opposed? Motion carries. So our next one, item 8.5, Principal Sotelo requesting approval of purchase with Amazon Business Prime for band equipment for Desert Mirage High School. Do I hear a motion?
I'll motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.1, Director Marroquin, approval of resolution 2025-31 piggyback San Bernardino City Unified School District Lakeshore Contract bid number 22-17. Do I hear a motion?
I'll motion.
Do I hear a second? I have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. 9.2, again, Mr. Marroquin, resolution 2025-33. Approval to surplus old and non-operating vehicles and auction them through Gov Deals. Do I hear a motion?
A motion.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Student trustee?
Aye.
Sorry about that. All those opposed? Seeing none, all those, motion carries 7-0. Item 9.3. Mr. Marroquin, approval of resolution 2025-32, piggyback on Motorola Solutions LLC, source well contract solicitation number RFP number 042021. Do I hear a motion?
I'll motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. We have any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Student trustee?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 9.4, Ms. Torres, authorization to issue a purchase order to Atkinson, Andelson, Lawyer, Rudd, and Romo for legal services for public works issues.
A motion.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
I have a question. Dr. Sparsa, is this what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Can we get a second? Can we get a second for discussion?
Oh, yeah. Can I have a
Second,
second?
second.
You got a second? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I have no more questions.
I believe we did talk about this in facilities as well. One time,
Yeah.
about using them for facility related issues,
Well,
public works issues.
Well, I'm just gonna be truthful. When we did use them for facilities, we had some serious problems with this law firm. And so the fact that we're bringing them back, I didn't know, I thought it was important to have a law firm. But the fact that we're using this law firm with the problems that I seen, when I started here, there's some concern.
Mm. And to refresh my memory, those were like some of the contracts, right? That,
All of it.
yeah.
So the reason why we went with this recommendation, Ms. Leticia Torres, our interim director of facilities, has been having to go through our current general counsel. And they apparently have supported for us to be able to get documents from them. It's not so much to get the legal services, but to be able to get the documents that they are privy to because they're a larger firm in regards to doing the work in regard around facilities.
If I might chime in, this is specifically to do our 5-year developer fee plan, which I believe they do every year. So it's just specifically
Yeah,
for that
okay.
purpose.
Yeah. Okay. I call the question, Mr. Cunha.
Any other
There's a
questions?
motion, a second.
Oh, if this is something that we do recurring, maybe for the next time, we should think about looking at other options if there are concerns with this specific one, and that way we're not like.
Well, I think
with
in
the
this,
time.
in that task with, to kind of rebut or not rebut, to kind of comment or build on your idea. For something like that, I could see how they could deliver, yeah, yeah. Like there's just a lot of other stuff that, but anyway, yeah, I would support the motion.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those, student trustee?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Item 10.1. Assistant Superintendent Makowitz, approval of resolution number 2025-34, revision to resolution number 2025-29 regarding certificated reductions or discontinuances of particular kinds of services deviating from the seniority order and establishment of tie-breaking criteria. Do I hear a motion?
I'll motion.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second? Second. I have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Student trustee?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10.2. We're
That was
pulling.
tabled.
I'm just mentioning that. 10.3, again, Assistant Superintendent Makowitz, approval of workplace violence prevention plan for Coachella Valley Unified School District. Do I hear a motion?
Motion, a second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Student trustee?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 10.4, again, Assistant Superintendent Makowitz, approval of first reading for Board Policy 6158, Independent Study, and AR 6158, Independent Study. Do I hear a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Oh, second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, this will come back for the next reading when we'll actually adopt it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Student trustee?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Next item, consent calendar. Just a quick reminder, we pulled 1312 from this, so we won't be voting on that one. Consent calendar, all matters listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be acted upon in one motion. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the item the board considers the motion unless members of the board or staff request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent calendar item, in which event the items will be considered separately. The superintendent, assistant superintendent of educational services, business and finance, and human resources recommend the approval of the consent calendar. Do I have a motion?
A motion to approve the consent calendar respecting anybody pulling an item.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Anybody want to post something? Nothing? Wow. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Student trustee?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Last item, before we ask for a motion to adjourn, do you want to make a quick announcement about the thing tomorrow?
So the ribbon cutting for Palm View and Valley View have been moved to Wednesday, the 26th. Palm View will be at 9 a.m. and Valley View will be at 11 a.m. And I would be remiss if I didn't congratulate all the spelling bee participants. Sorry for not mentioning that. And thank you to all of our principals, our teachers and staff who were here and parents to support them yesterday. We have a lot of them coming to the next board meeting for us to recognize.
So is there ribbon cutting tomorrow at all? Or
There was a third,
Or no,
no?
what happened to the third one? Didn't,
that one's being moved to another date.
okay, just, you said mention two of them, we scheduled.
Can
so
we
there
get
was
an
three.
email on that just so that we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Just a quick announcement. All right, seeing nothing else, all those, I have a motion to adjourn.
A motion?
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Student trustee?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. We are done at 9:38. Thank you all.
So if they keep going. I don't know. That's gotta be.